Boker Shalom. Hello everybody, Brandy Bear here, and I'm back from Israel. It was an amazing trip, so much to see, so much awesome stuff happened. And I thought that, as the internet saying goes, pics or it didn't happen, that I would share some of my Israel trip with you. So we went for 10 days, however, it was only 8 days actually in Israel. So I'm thinking that I am going to be posting 8 videos, and each video is going to be me explaining the pictures that I took each day. I took about an average of 60 pictures a day. So I'm hoping that, each video is going to be like maybe 20 minutes at most, just me sitting there and explaining what it is that we're seeing and what I'm thinking, me getting to share a little bit of my trip with you since you obviously didn't go. So I'm about to start with day 1, and here we go. Alright, so this first picture is of me at the Istanbul airport. What I'm drinking is just a coffee. Just the funny part about it was I was trying to get a Turkish coffee, but the people didn't understand me because I wasn't speaking Turkish. I thought it was really cool because it was really my first experience as a foreigner, and they completely misunderstood me, and I just found that really funny. But yeah, I go to the person and I'm like, I'd like a Turkish coffee, please. And it takes roughly about 2 minutes to brew one. So the person told me to wait. And then I'm sitting there and I'm waiting, and then like 2 minutes go by, 3 minutes go by, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching. I'm trying not to seem like an impatient American. So then I go up and I ask again. But I'm like, oh, so I asked for a coffee a little bit ago. And then the person just comes up and they just give me a regular coffee and not the Turkish coffee that I asked for. So it was just interesting, I thought. Okay, this next one is just an advertisement, I think for hotels, that was also in the Istanbul airport. Just if you look to the far right, there's this weird like pilot blue dude with a crazy look and a awesome beard, and I don't know what he's advertising necessarily. It's just I had to take a picture because it's just so weird looking. And then here's the picture of us getting to Israel. This is where we stayed the first night. I believe this was in Tel Aviv. And then here's a little bit more of our hotel room. There's me in the reflection on the left, if you can see it. These are the stairs at night. Alright, so this is the sunrise at the hotel we were staying at, and it was actually in Yad Hashmona, which is in Jerusalem, so it was not Tel Aviv. Sorry, I had to go and grab my itinerary for the trip. But it's a biblical garden. So here's just an overlook of like the mountain and the sky. Here's us going into the biblical garden. So this is a stone gate. It was made in like the 1980s. The buddy that's standing right there is Aaron. Here's a bit of a selfie. Here's us sitting down and listening to a lecture by Joe Stoll, who's actually the president of my university. He goes on the trip. And we're learning about how this biblical garden is supposed to represent how Jerusalem and gardens and stays and everything looked back in the 1st century AD. So these are the overhead vineyards, because vineyards were very, very, very popular in Israel, as if you've read like the Torah, the Bible, or anything, they talk a lot about wine and vineyards. So here's a bit of an example of that. This next thing is a wine press. So this is, when they would squish the grapes and stomp on the grapes and have them filter down into wine, so they can put it into pots and ferment it, so it turns from grape juice to wine. Here's a little mosaic of people stomping on the grapes and turning it into wine. Okay, this next thing is an olive press. This is how people make olive oil. Essentially what they'll do is they'll put a whole bunch of olives in that little circular thing, and then either laborers or a mule would be attached to the end of the stick to the right of the screen. So you can't see it, but there's a little thing where they would attach an animal or have people push, and it would turn the wheel around and it would start to smush the grapes a little bit. I mean the olives, but it wouldn't smush the olives too much because this is actually not the permanent part of the press. Um, yeah, a a olive press that I have from a later stop in Nazareth that I will show in a later video. But yeah, there's a bunch of like weights and stuff that actually smushes all the oil out of the olives. What they will do is they'll take a whole bunch of little olives and put them in sort of like burlap sacks, and then they'll stack them on top of each other, and then they'll take these stone weights and push them down so that the olive oil comes out. And apparently what I learned from our tour guide is um, extra virgin olive oil is the one that is the oil that they get from the bottom burlap sacks that come from the weight of the other ones on top smushing the oil out, and it's not used from an olive press. So what is advertised as extra virgin olive oil in America is actually false advertising. It's not extra virgin olive oil. So, yay, false advertising. All right, these next two things on this hill are called amphora. They're commonly used in the Greco-Roman world to transport wine and olive oil and olives and honey and other things like that. I took an entire class on it in my undergrad, so I thought it was really cool that they sort of had these at the wine press and the olive oil press. This is a shepherd's tower, so whenever they talk about a tower or a shepherd watching over his flock, this is usually what the shepherd would be standing in. This is a tomb or a burial area. Then this little statue guy here is of a man ripping his clothes. It was very common in Jewish literature and ancient Israel times that to show that you were lamenting, you tore your clothes. And that's what this guy is doing here. Then we were driving to another site and we passed a gas station that was Elvis themed. Like they had an Elvis statue, and you can kind of see these little Elvis figurines on the top of the building to the right. Obviously they have the giant Elvis sign. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of Elvis stuff on the other side. There was even a newspaper that published a article on Elvis while we were there, so for some reason Israel loves Elvis. Okay, so this next one, I'm looking over an archaeological dig of a field. I believe we went to so many places and the names are all so weird, but I believe this is Bet Shemesh. And this little sign is supposed to be Philistine warriors. The place we were at was a very hill country, as I'm showing here. By the way, here was this other archaeological picture, but this little hill country was the country of the Philistines. And here's another little bit of the archaeological dig. And here's some more. So this is us in what is called a cistern. This is well, I shouldn't say us, this is me in a cistern. And cistern was like a giant stone area that was carved out in the ground to collect rainwater, because there's some places in Israel that only get 2 inches of rainwater a year, and it can all fall in one day. So they have to save the water, and that's why like water and flowing springs and cistern water and Christ being living water played such a huge geographical and philosophical role in the Bible, but I have that for yet another day. Okay, here we are at another gas station, and I have no idea what the Hebrew on this sign says, but Batman for some reason. Okay, so here is us at Gath. Um, this is a hill overlooking where the battle between David and Goliath took place. They were actually able to like geographically trace it and find like the names of the towns. And this is they don't know the exact like meter by meter spot, but this is the hill overlooking the valley. Um, there's me standing. I'm actually standing on the Philistine side because we're talking about the Philistines um, for that day. But this is roughly about where Goliath, the side where Goliath would have stood, and then on the other side of that road is where Israel and David and all them would have been. So here is one of King Herod's like safe houses. It is one of his castles. Here's the entrance gate. Then here's some more of a wall. Here's a whole bunch of rocks. This is really cool. This is the Israeli flag, and I just really like how it's like moving in the sunset and all that. So this is I'm going to put this as the icon for all of these photo reel videos. So I mean, I haven't done it yet since I haven't uploaded the videos, but by the point that I have, and you're obviously watching this video, it will be the thumbnail for it. So awesome. This is where the picture comes from. And then here's some more rocks that are left intact from the stone wall at not King Herod. I said King Herod earlier, but it's King Hezekiah. I'm sorry, there's so many kings and stuff that was going on. Also, just as an apology, I know there's going to be a lot of pictures where I'm just like, oh, here's some rocks at some place. And I want to be more specific. I really do. But, you know, there was being there and really being in the moment and thinking that I'm going to remember exactly where everything is. And then, you know, now that it's a week later and I'm back recording this and overlooking the photos, I'm like, hey, I kind of remember what this thing was, but I don't remember where it is. Because just in that first day, we went to Yad Hashmora, we went to Safi, Gath, Bet Shemesh, Azekah, and Lachish. I believe that this is either this the castle is either Azekah or Lachish, but I can't remember which one it was. I'm seriously just sitting here looking at my itinerary, being like, where did we go? What happened that day? Alright, so then this is this is our hotel off of the Dead Sea. So if you can see that body of water, this is the Dead Sea. It's very, very full of salt, so everything floats super easy. You may insert your Stephen King's It, they all float down here jokes here. I was thinking about it, but I'm not going to. But yeah, so it's so full of salt and it's got like magnesium in it, so you float really, really easy, and it's super, super good for your skin. Just as long as you don't get it in your eyes. I got it in my eyes, and it was completely agonizing. I was blind for like 20 minutes, not because it had a negative effect on my eyes, but because it just stung so much to try to open my eyes. Like I would open my eyes for like half a second just to see the trajectory of where I was going, and then I would just close my eyes again. Because of the salt and all the stuff in the water that my body's not used to, here's me after getting out of the Dead Sea. My hair got really, really curly over in Israel, and then I also have a beard, as you can see. So there's actually a ton of people that thought I was Israeli and thought I was Jewish, because people would come up and they would start speaking Hebrew to me. You know, they'd be like, "Oh, Shalom, blah 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 blah," or you know, Boker tov, blah 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 blah. And I didn't understand what they were saying, and I think after I looked at them kind of funny for a couple seconds, they figured out that I was American. But apparently, I look super Jewish. Like, not just in this picture, but like throughout different points all throughout our trip to Israel. There's a bunch of different people that tried speaking Hebrew to me. And there's a lot of different people that asked me if I was Jewish or something like that. So yeah, apparently I just look really, really Jewish, and I thought that was kind of cool, actually. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you liked this video, if you liked the pictures, like, comment, or subscribe. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this is only day 1 of 8 days worth of pictures. So there is much, much more. Stay tuned for the next one.